GM technology a failed technology?
Of course, it's true.
Europe doesn't accept biotechnology.
No.
It's not that true anymore.
So even in Africa, this is not actually a dying or failing technology.
The acceptance of GM technology and now slowly also maybe CRISPR-Cas and gene editing techniques is lower, but it's changing.
Of course, it's true that Africa missed out on the Green Revolution, but it's in danger of losing out on this new revolution. We've really missed out on the use of GM crops because there are only two countries in Africa that have commercialized it. That's South Africa and Sudan.
We might see a slow uptake of genetic modification and gene technologies in Africa and in Europe. But what we saw last year during the UN biodiversity meeting in Egypt was really amazing, where Africa came as a single voice, with a single voice saying that they need genetic modification and gene technologies, and they were pushing for regulatory reforms.
Africa has been slow in uptake. Three reasons. One is the complexity of the regulatory systems that countries have adopted. Secondly is the way the governance system is. A lot of politics within the science. And we need to actually reduce the amount of politics that we put in our scientific developments. Thirdly, miscommunication. And miscommunication has created a lot of fear and indecisiveness among our policymakers.
The governments are too afraid, they're too scared of what might happen. Is there going to be a backlash? Will a politician lose their vote in the next election?
The failure is more on the policy side. I mean, the government, most African countries, leaders, they, in most of their speech, they clearly state that the need for technological revolution to support their economies. But when coming into practice, in order to create enabling environment for biotech and other technology, including emerging technology, is really very low.
The European Union Parliament endorsed a report that has a clause urging the G7 members not to support GMO crops in Africa. This goes against the spirit of Article 16 and 19.
Unfortunately, we know that very often still Africa is looking towards Europe to see what is being decided there, and this is, I hope really Africa can get more independent of this and take its own decision for its own populations.
Europe is one of the continents that has kind of influenced the way our regulatory systems have been developed, but the needs are very different. Europe has different needs on food security. Africa has different needs.
We often think that many people, or 90% of Europeans, are rejecting GM crops, but that is not true, because the recent Eurobarometer shows that only 20% of Europeans are rejecting GM crops or gene modification. And again, even in Europe, there are countries that grows GM crops, which is Spain and Portugal, and they import 30 million tons of grains, GM grains, annually.
The general opinion that Europe doesn't accept biotechnology is changing recently, and probably also thanks to gene editing. In fact, the general opinion is turning towards technology because we're seeing that we are getting to the limits of our current agriculture, and we need new solutions, and technology and science can only be the answers.
For Africa to benefit from new and emerging technologies, we need to put our regulatory systems right in making sure they are predictable and they are timely, they are science-based. We cannot put politics in technical decision making. Secondly, we need to build a community of communicators, science communicators, women, youth, who can engage with the different stakeholders in society. Thirdly, we need to carry along everyone. Those who are standing on the fence, those who are not clear what the technology is about, we need to devise communication strategies that address each and every cadre of our society.